studied journalism actually at USC, and some of your first on camera appearances were you were like on these Linda Ellerby Nick News specials, right?
I was, yeah. I wanted to be a well, I wanted to be an actor since I was younger, but when I started auditioning, you get told no a lot when you're first starting, and I've also always loved writing and people, and I'm a inquisitive person, so journalism to me was like another way of kind of expressing myself. And I pitched talk show ideas to people starting at 16 and like all the major networks, and was told no because I was far too young. And they were like, who wants that perspective? Meanwhile, now it's like
Yeah,
the
right.
younger the
Yeah,
interviewer, the better, you know? And,
right.
uh, and so I started working for Nickelodeon, and I reported at the national conventions. And then ultimately Obama's inauguration, it was news stuff, as well as like hosting the slime carpet at the Kids' Choice Awards and stuff like that, which was so fun.
Isn't that wild though to think, because I look on your credits and I see that you actually were doing awards pre-shows and you were covering the VMAs and stuff. So what an
Yeah,
interesting path then to go from covering these red carpets and to then being on them. Did
yeah.
that, I have to think that that kind of grounded you in a weird way, because you've become this huge star, and everything's happening, and you're now very recognized all over the place. Did it change how you are on a red carpet, because you know what it feels like to be on the
Mm.
other
Y-
side?
yes, it's very interesting. So when I was working at a Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards right after I had filmed The Blind Side, and I had already been on a set, but I was
Wow.
now
Okay.
interviewing people, and I remember um being there, and you have your little earpiece in, right, and it's live, so you're being told, like, Will Smith is coming up in 10 seconds. Oh my god, no, it's Jack Black. Oh no, it's not Jack Black. And you're having to be so spur of the moment that you're like, it's that idea of improv and like being present in the moment and having to just roll with it. So I had just come from like a scene, essentially, like, acting in the scene with lines, to then being in a moment where I'm just having to be myself and be live. And then I'd start to have these interviews where I had either worked with the person I was talking with, or I wanted to work with them. And I was thinking, this is going to get so convoluted at some point, because the audience is only going to believe me as a character to a certain extent if they
Mm.
know Lily too well as Lily the interviewer. So it was like that
Uh-huh.
fine line of, I need to choose ultimately what I focus on more, because I don't want to do a disservice to an acting career if people are just going to remember me for that silly interview I did with so and so.
Uh-huh.
So it was a really interesting kind of dynamic. And because I was on the other end of interviewing, and I was being told certain questions that I was told to ask, which ultimately there was one day my producer wanted me to ask questions that to a friend, that I was like, I will not be asking that question. That's so uncomfortable. And then they said,
No.
fine, like, you're losing out on the interview, and they gave it to someone else. And I remember being like, you
Wow.
know what? I'm okay with losing out on that, because I'm not going to ask my friend about some scandal. I don't feel
Mm.
comfortable, because that's my direction is not that. Like, I want to talk about other things. And it was in that moment that I was like, okay, this is so weird to be the one being asked those questions, let alone like being the one being asked to ask the questions. So now
Right.
I'm just like more weary. Like, I get it. I get both sides, but I'm so aware of like when they're trying to get an angle or a soundbite.